guys, it is Tuesday night. It is time for cover three, and I am your girl, Miss Sam. I am here by myself tonight. Just wanted to touch base and catch up on all things in Week 7 NFL news. Work has been kicking my behind lately, so we didn't have time to schedule a guest, but I did want to touch base with you guys. So first of all, let's talk about what's going on in the NFL this week. It is the bizarro world continued in the NFL this season. This past week saw some really interesting action. If I do say so myself, I've got my D Hall jersey on today because after all, it is Tuesday, and I don't know if Mr. Hall has declared it yet, but it is D Hall Tuesday, so I am wearing my jersey in celebration. I am also wearing my pink ribbon in support of Mrs. Snyder's cause that she took league-wide for Crucial Catch, and just want to remind you all to please, whether you're a lady or a gentleman, make sure that you do the proper self-exams, and if you find anything funky, awkward, see your doctor, because early detection can save your life. Okay, enough of that PSA. Now let's move on. Let's talk about some of the wow factors this weekend. Now, this first one is personal. It's not so much a wow factor as I was reminded. It was probably for most people who got our game, Washington versus Tennessee. It was probably like watching, I don't know, Tampa Bay and Oakland play, maybe something like that. Who knows? But to me, it was exciting because they're my boys. Win or lose, whether they're 0-16 or 1-15 or 8-8 or 10-6, whatever their record is, I'm always going to hail to my Redskins, and I'm always going to love it when they win. So this win over the Tennessee Titans saw some pretty interesting changes take place for us. And I'm not just talking about the most obvious one that I'll get to in a moment, but did you happen to notice, if you're a member of Redskins Nation, the players plural, that were being rotated in and out of the game? Because apparently, if you weren't getting it done, Coach Gruden had reached his saturation point and he was starting to rotate guys through. Because if this man up can't do it, next man up better. So good for you, Coach. I'm glad to see you pulling the desperation move, or the, I've had it with all of you move. I don't know which one it was, but thank you, because it seemed to kind of light a fire under the team. I have to call out the most obvious difference, and that was that Kirk, so sorry, Kirk, you got pulled, and Colt McCoy came in. And for somebody who hasn't played in a while, he didn't look half bad. He remained poised. He seemed to get into a groove fairly quickly. But I think that what we saw was that the O-line is still the O-line. And God love you guys. I'm not trying to talk bad about you, but come on now. Two of you in particular, just y'all are. We need work on the O-line. I'll save my sanity and my time and just say that our O-line needs work. So I do want to say that my MVR, my most valuable Redskin for the game against the Titans, was without a doubt Colt McCoy, for that beautiful pass, that 70 yards that he threw to Pierre Garçon. Thank you very much, Pierre, because I need those fantasy points. Somebody remembered that Pierre was still playing, was still wide receiver for the Washington Redskins, and adjusted accordingly, okay, and got Pierre the ball, and that was a thing of beauty. Gave us a reason to cheer. I was apoplectic there for a moment. I thought that perhaps he had stepped out of bounds, but thankfully it showed on the replay that he stayed in. We just love you, Pierre, for paying attention to the sideline, because sometimes that'll get you. Seems like it perhaps that would get to us. But anyway, I digress. So my most valuable Redskin, my MVR on offense, as I said, is Colt McCoy. Not Case McCoy, as somebody, Channel 9 WUSA, here in DC called him. Not Case, it's Colt. And then my most valuable Redskin, my MVR on defense, is my man, Bashaud Breeland. Talk about the young man stepping up. He's got huge shoes to fill. With D Hall being out, he is all over the place. He is trying to contribute. He makes his mistakes, but you know what? The kid is out there hustling. He's putting Raheem on notice. I'm here to try and do this job the best way I can with, the limited amount of pro experience that I have. So Raheem, I hope you gave him a big old slap on the back and a good on ya, because Bashaud did a beautiful job. He got his first INT, and I was really proud of him for it. Hey, listen, Redskins Nation, if you are so inclined, Bashaud is up for Rookie of the Week, Pepsi Rookie of the Week on NFL.com. Go and vote for him. Make the young man feel welcome, and let's help him be proud and celebrate his accomplishment this past week, because for him it's a big deal, and it was for us as well, because it contributed to that win. In other news, the Rams won this week over, who was it that they defeated? The Super Bowl champions, Seattle Seahawks. Oh, what's going on in Seattle? I mean, I'm sure that Pete Carroll was chewing his gum as furiously as he could possibly chew it, and that couldn't even spur his guys on to a win. And from the Ain't That a Bitch file, let's talk about how there was a late in the fourth quarter controversial call, or non-call as it were, in which Seattle did not get the ball. I think everyone in Green Bay, especially Aaron Rodgers and all 52 of his teammates' hearts, are bleeding for you guys, okay? So that is from the Ain't That a Bitch file. And from the Karma's a Bitch file, Fontes, I hate it when anyone gets hurt. And you see what you get? You see how karma comes back and fights you for the things that you do? So stop trying to twist people's ankles and other body parts off, because you got your neck stung, didn't you? You had a cervical strain. So God bless you. Hope that you get better very quickly, but watch out now. Maybe you'll behave yourself, because you see how the universe has its way of writing things, right? So let's talk about more injuries. Can you believe this? I got to put my eyeballs on here, y'all. First of all, most notably for me is Brian Orakpo. We are sick that he has another partial torn pec. Oh, God, Rack, this is awful. This is not boding well for you, and I fear for what this means at the end of the season or when contracts come up. But just know that this Redskin fan supports you. I wish you well. I wish you speedy recovery, and I really want to see you back in Redskins jersey next season. So my fingers are crossed. Okay. But Rack obviously is not the only guy that we got to talk about. I mean, Reggie Bush, ankle bothering him a little bit during that game against the Saints. Pierre Thomas was taken off the field. You got Brandon Flowers, who was injured in his game. CJ Spiller, good God, he's like done. He's on injured reserve, but the injured reserve with the option to return list. Fred Jackson, Trent Richardson. You've got Janoris Jenkins, who was also hurt. Man, the injuries abound yet again this week in the NFL, and I don't know what's going on, but to every single one of you, and I didn't mention all of the names that I have on my list here, I just grabbed a handful. To all of you gentlemen, I want to say speedy recovery. I hope y'all get better soon, and I hope each of you is that are being evaluated, that it's found that it's not as serious perhaps as may have been initially thought. So Godspeed to all of you. Let's talk now a little bit about the New England Patriots. What is going on there? What is going on there? I mean, they barely beat the Jets. I know my girl Erica is probably sick about that game. And I'm kind of sick for her about that game because, oh my God, how can they be like, how could they have only beaten the Jets by 2 points? Okay, Tom was probably not very happy. I'll tell you somebody else who was probably not very happy, and that is Cam Newton. What is going on in Carolina with those guys? Come on now, y'all, get it together. I mean, they are having some serious problems. I feel bad for them. They were doing so well, and now it just seems like they're starting to sort of get on the roller coaster again. The other team, though, that I do want to say is a happy surprise. Go ahead on with your bad selves, Jacksonville. I'm proud of you that you got your first win. It's always horrible, I'm sure, to go to work when you know it's just bad and that things aren't clicking. I mean, hey, I can tell you that I've felt that in the real world of jobs here, when things just aren't right and you know they're not right, and it's tough to get up in the morning and go to work. So I hope that y'all have had a happy week this week and that y'all will have continued success. So good on you, Jacksonville. I'm glad that you guys finally got your first win of the season. The other team that I want to say is, oh my God, Baltimore. You know that I have to say it. Stop beating your opponents like you're Ray Rice. Come on now. Seriously. I know that was horrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a wise ass. What can I say? I can't resist that joke. So anyway, they are beating their opponents like they're redheaded stepchildren. Stop it. I mean, win, of course, obviously, for all of you in Ravens Nation. But for the love of God, have some mercy on your opponents. It's interesting to me that things are, are going so topsy-turvy. I mean, who would have thought that the team that wears the star on the side of their head would be, like, the best right now? All I can say is, what's going to happen come December? I'm going to have my popcorn ready, and I'm going to be wrapped with attention around their team because I really want to see what happens. For my friends Gypsy and Neil and also Michelle, I am happy for y'all that y'all have something positive to cheer for that's coming out of that city. But I cannot officially be cheering your team on because obviously I would lose my Redskins Nation membership. So I'm glad for the three of you that you have something positive to cheer for. I'll say it like that. And with that, talking about cheering, let's talk about the amazing, the super talented, the one of the greatest of all time, Peyton F. Manning. That's correct. 510 touchdown passes, the all-time touchdown leader of the NFL. Broke some guy named Brett's record, who, okay, it doesn't really matter if he breaks it, I don't care. But he's been, of course, as you know, in the media as much as he can possibly be, even though it didn't really matter whether or not Peyton broke his record, right? But he's had to have his face back in the media. Ugh, that guy. I wish he would just go away. I don't. Peyton did a great job, got the record, and as usual was his humble self. I thought it was absolutely hilarious that they were playing keep away with the ball that, the 510th touchdown pass came from. That was pretty funny. I'm sure that the humble as ever Mr. Manning will just continue to build on his legacy. And I have to say, love him or hate him, the same way with Tom Brady, but love him or hate him, you have to respect the achievement that Peyton Manning has gained. You have got to respect how much he loves the game of football, how dedicated he is to the study of his game, and to the artistry of his position, the craft of his position. And I have to say, Peyton, I am a huge fan and always have been. And whether you are with Denver, when you were with Indianapolis, wherever you are, this Redskins fan will always be a Peyton fan. So congratulations to you, and play on, player. And with that, let's talk a little bit about play up, please. It has got to be to Roger Goodell and the league for allowing Ray Rice to appeal his suspension, and that appeal will be heard November 5th and 6th. If it's going to be heard here down in Washington, where they were meeting during all of the meetings here, I would say that I would probably go down there and give Roger a good finger wag and a talking to, but Miss M doesn't have bail money, so I better avoid that. But yeah, seriously, I think that the NFL needs to use this as a teaching point. This has to be a turning point for the league where they are going to put their foot down and stop allowing horrific behavior. If you or if I did something that caused legal issues, we would be fired, or we would be reprimanded in some way, and most likely, since we're average Janes and Joes, we would be fired. I can tell you that with my job and some of the things that it entails, I would most assuredly be escorted out the door. And I think that this is a very crucial point for the league, and what they decide is going to either cause more furor over this whole situation, or it could be a more positive reaction depending on what the outcome is, how they decide this one. So I'm just going to say right now, look, Roger, the league may not care, but the fans are watching, and we expect for you to be a gentleman and to run a gentleman's league. And just because somebody recognized that a young man had athletic talent and has shepherded him through school, or has covered up past mistakes, or has never said no, or has made life easier for them just based upon the fact that they have some sort of athletic talent, which is sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes is the case with some of these athletes, doesn't mean that you have to perpetuate that. So think about this one very deliberately and do the right thing. That's all you can do, is do the right thing. So the next thing I want to talk a little bit about is the same thing I talk about every October, and that is a big, very special thank you to Tanya Snyder, wife of Redskins owner Daniel Snyder, who brought the breast cancer awareness campaign to the attention of the league and helped to foster it into a league-wide awareness campaign for the month of October. We want to tip our hat here at Cover 3 to Mrs. Snyder and tell you you are appreciated, and all of the survivors who you represent as a survivor yourself, I'm sure, are very grateful to you. For getting their message out there, and that is to make sure that you look after yourself, you look after your health, because everybody is important to somebody, and you want to make sure that you take care of yourself so that you can be around for many years to come for the people who love you. And on that note, folks, I'm going to tell you that it was my joy and pleasure to stop by and to talk to you tonight, even though it was just for a little while, just to cover all of the news and happenings from my point of view. It is Cowboys week, and I have a parting message for Coach Gruden. Look here, pay attention. Wait, let me adjust. Hey, Coach Gruden, do not forget that Santana Moss is the Cowboy killer. Just remember that. Adjust your game plan accordingly. And let's try and surprise somebody. You know what I mean? Come on. I mean, they're not really expecting too much from us because they probably think that we're flabby losers and, okay, whatever. Why don't you put Santana in the game? You put him in, but you haven't thrown the ball to him. Let's remember that he's still there. Don't disrespect him, and don't take his loyalty for granted and trample on it. And remember, he is the Cowboy killer. So you need to remember that, okay? Put that in the game plan. All right. So I want to say thank you for all your continued support. I want to tell you thank you for all your messages of encouragement. And I want to thank you for keeping Cover 3 alive. Sometimes it's hard when you don't have the full support of a big organization behind you, but I've been plugging along by myself, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys have been watching. We're getting some really nice hits on YouTube. We're getting some pretty good statistics. Keep those coming. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next Tuesday night. Hopefully I will have my girl Erica Anderson back, and we will talk things, all things football, all things NFL, all things that make us happy about the game we love. So until then, folks, y'all take care. I hope that you have a great night. I hope that you have a great week. Happy week 8 to you. May your team win, unless you're in a particular city in Texas. And with that, I'll say good night. Take care, y'all.